Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. I am now joined by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, for discussion on President Tinubu's economic policy. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ngelale.
Good evening to you, my dear sister, and good evening to all of our viewers. Thank you for having me.
Right. So President Tinubu continues with his drive to attract foreign investors to the country to boost the economy with a trip to Saudi Arabia. How significant is it for the country?
Extremely significant when you appreciate the fact that the Saudis have, in large part, already done much of what His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is planning to do and is in the process of doing for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is to ensure that we maximize and fully monetize all available natural resources in the country to ultimately diversify into industries, labor-intensive industries that would not only provide sustainable revenues when oil is no longer the primary source of the energy industry in terms of sales, but also preparing Nigeria for the day when we can have an economy that empowers mass employment through labor-intensive industries such as agriculture, obviously, such as manufacturing, construction, and the like. Now, what Saudi has been able to achieve is it has been able to use its hydrocarbons to effectively move into industries such as the chemicals industry, where they have been able to, really through aggressive research and development efforts on their part, through the Saudi Arabian Basic Industries Corporation, SABIC, which was at the table with His Excellency Mr. President during the investment roundtable in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They've essentially been able to create technologies that allow for them to put in oil products and get out extractive chemicals that would allow for the creation or production of chemicals such as polyethylene used for plastic bags, polystyrene used for styrofoam cups, polypropylene used for fibers and bottles and other uses, polyvinyl chloride used as for food wraps, bottles, drain pipes, and really other major plastics and polymers that they're able to now use as feed-in points for the construction industry, for the creation of automobile parts. I mean, all sorts of various uses, and they're exporting these plastics, polymers, and products around the world as a result of the foresight of the Saudi Arabian leadership just two decades ago. So this is the plan for.
Mr. Ngelale, can you hear me? Are you there?
And really, truly diversify our economy into one that is not just simply based on a capital-intensive sector, which is the oil and gas sector, capital-intensive, but not labor-intensive. We want to now move from capital-intensive and labor non-intensive to labor-intensive sectors of the economy, and we believe that this is a major way of doing that. So there's really a lot in store in terms of the agreements and the discussions that have been held between Saudi Arabian business conglomerates and His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with respect to how we can diversify in actuality away from merely oil and gas into other products that can yield billions of dollars in profits and revenues for the Nigerian Federation.
Right. So talk to us about one major fallout of the president's visit, which is the planned inauguration of the Nigeria-Saudi Business Council anytime soon. But more importantly, what impact can this have on investments between the two countries?
Well, it's going to be extremely significant. Look, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a determined man. That is not just how he became president. That is how he was able to, achieve unprecedented results as the executive governor of Lagos State. I believe that there are men who were sitting presidents at one time that can attest that even as a sitting president, they could not stop him from achieving his vision for Lagos State. Now that he's president, I don't see the person in Nigeria that's going to stop him from achieving his dream for Nigeria. So look, when it comes to the Saudi Arabian partnership, I think there are a few things that we should look at. One is the fact that, yes, I've talked about the Saudi Arabian Basic Industries Corporation, SABIC, and we believe there's a lot of potential there in terms of turning our oil into chemicals and products that can be used around the world for Nigeria's benefits in terms of jobs as well as wealth creation and tax revenues. But also, there were several other sectors that were around the table when we begin to talk about the Saudi-Nigerian Business Council that's going to be coming up. At that meeting, you also had the Red Gate port company, essentially one of the major port companies in Saudi Arabia, expressing interest in doing a major investment in Nigeria with respect to Nigerian port infrastructure and opening up new port gateways to facilitate the enhancement of the ease of import-export flows into and out of Nigeria through the sea. That's obviously going to be a major point of focus moving forward. The president obviously has experience with enabling port infrastructure in Lekki, and he's going to aggressively advance that through the cooperation of Saudi Arabian partners as well as other partners from around the world. We also had at that table, the Saudi Arabian Electric Power Company. They had expressed some interest in potential investments around transmission and distribution. We think that there's a lot of promise there. And there are so many other sectors that were at the table. Agriculture. We even had, exploratory pitch from a major healthcare provider. That is a hospital establishment that essentially has gone around the world and put up world-class international standard hospitals around the world. They have expressed interest in coming to Nigeria. In fact, the man behind that company said he already had experience in Nigeria. So he's looking forward to scaling that up with the partnership of the administration of His Excellency, Mr. President. So there's really a lot to look forward to. Now, I think it's important to note that the Saudi-Nigerian Business Council, which is going to be effectively inaugurated when the Saudi Arabian Commerce Minister and the Saudi Arabian Trade Minister visit either at the end of this year or in the early part of next year, it also involves the signing of agreements. We are not simply, and they made this point very clearly when they had the discussion with Mr. President in Riyadh just a few days ago, that they're not coming into Nigeria for exploratory discussions. They're not coming into Nigeria to have another conversation and to take pictures. They are coming into Nigeria to actualize everything that was discussed with His Excellency, Mr. President. If you were in the room that day, what you would have seen was a unanimous view on the part of Saudi Arabian CEOs across the sectors that they had heard from a Nigerian president a voice of passion, a voice of commitment, and a voice of know-how, a business person who happens to be the president of the country, who understands business, knows the language of business, knows the frustrations of business, and can create the conditions for optimal business to occur in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They all came away inspired. They said so themselves, and that is why you're seeing the level of excitement that you're seeing. And I think when we formally inaugurate the Saudi-Nigerian Business Council, the two ministers, the Saudi Arabian ministers of Commerce and Trade, also mentioned that when they come in, they're coming in with a slate, a broad host of Saudi Arabian CEOs from across the sectors to really pinpoint and ensure that they are in continuous face-to-face negotiation and discussion and collaboration with Nigerian officials as appropriate to ensure that every bottleneck is crushed, every area that is locked is unlocked, and that Saudi Arabian money can flow in. And they said that in a meeting in 2020 with a less prosperous, much smaller African country, that a similar meeting unlocked about $18 billion worth of investment over the last 3 years. They also said that because of Nigeria's market, because of the seriousness of the reforms they're seeing, and because of the capacity of the president, they have optimism and confidence that they can do much, much more than $18 billion over the next few years. They're looking at tens of billions of dollars across the sector. sectors, all because of the invitation, the will, the desire, and the approach of His Excellency, Mr. President, in ensuring that all stops are taken out to bring in Saudi Arabian investment, just as we're aggressively pushing for other nations to bring their investors from around the world. This isn't going to stop now. We're only getting started.
All right. So talking about this commitment to remove all bottlenecks to investment, how is the government working to ensure this?
Well, first of all, there's no better way than having the president of the federation, the president of the country, at the table with his ministers, the coordinating minister of the economy and the honorable minister of finance, Mr. Wale Edun, as well as, of course, the minister of industry, trade, and investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anite, who are there at the table saying, look, you are here. You can hear the investors. You know what their complaints are. You know what their concerns are. You know what their experiences have been. And now you're hearing, some of their horror stories, or maybe what they may have heard from somebody else who had a bad experience under previously failed administrations in the country. We want to change that story. And how we do that is by making sure that they have direct and unfettered access to every relevant official in the country who has the power to be able to remove those obstacles. And that's what the president has done very actively. He said, look, I will be on the neck of our regulators. I will be on the neck of my ministers. I will be on the neck of whoever I have to be on the neck of to ensure that your money is safe in Nigeria, that you're able to invest easily, profitably, and without any kind of encumbrance. And that is what he's doing. And they also have confidence because they know that he is an open door president. He's somebody who believes that there should not be any monopoly on his time or access to him. Yes, he is going to have an open door to these investors, particularly serious ones who are tangibly investing the kind of the level of resources that would require his direct attention. He's doing that. And so he's opening the door to between the ministers and other officials and these investors, but he's also opening his door to them as well to ensure that there is an absolutely seamless approach to investment promotion and attraction to the shores of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And when you have that kind of determined leadership at the top seat, on the top chair in the country, only good things can come out of that.
So, I mean, just like you've said, there were several negotiations, but I'm very interested in this multi-billion-dollar infrastructure finance facility from the Islamic Development Bank to fund infrastructure projects in the country. How feasible is this deal?
Oh, well, it's absolutely feasible because it's already been agreed upon from the Arab Coordination Group. They've already set aside $50 billion for investment across the African continent in such projects. Obviously, it's only natural that when you're dealing with the largest economy on the continent and the largest market on the continent that is blessed with a demographic dividend of brilliant young people who are ready to work, who are ready to partner, who are ready to, be industrious and create opportunities for themselves and others, that this is where you want to do business. We have everything going for us. All we needed to do is to dot the I's and cross the T's, make sure that the things that we can solve, that we are serious about solving them. And I will tell you this, and I don't have to say this, but I'm going to say it because I think it's worthwhile for our viewers and for Nigerians to understand this. I've had conversations with investors here. I've had conversations with officials who are involved in these processes. And what you hear consistently, and this is not a partisan attack, this is not something that is based on personalities and anything like that. This is just a practical assessment of what investors are seeing. Investors are seeing that at the level of the presidency in Nigeria today, you have a man who is determined within himself to solve problems and to create prosperity for Nigerians. He is not someone who's simply listening to the advice of advisors and hoping that they're doing the right thing. He's hands-on. He's ensuring that where officials are not moving fast enough, that they move faster. He's ensuring that officials within his administration know that there are going to be consequences for failure. He is assuring that wherever an investor or a bilateral or multilateral partner comes with a complaint, that he is sleeves rolled up and ready to solve those problems. What people are seeing from President Bola Tinubu is a responsive leadership. in Nigeria. They're saying that this thing is finally here. We're talking to somebody on Monday, and by Wednesday, we're seeing results from the discussion we had on Monday. That's the leadership Nigeria has simply not had. We've had people with good intentions. We've had people who want to do the right thing, but not maybe because of a lack of experience in business, may not know exactly what to do next. We have a president now who knows exactly what to do, knows where the shoe is pinching the foot, and is doing whatever needs to be done to solve the problems of investors in order to ultimately achieve his vision of creating an inclusive economy that is labor intensive, that involves every Nigerian from every segment of the society, and that will create wealth for our people and facilities and infrastructure that will allow for a sustainably expanding economy for decades into the future without any reliance on oil and gas. This is the vision of Mr. President. This is what he is implementing, and this is what investors from around the world are lining up now to buy into.
Right. Mr. Ngelale, one big issue in the country is the Forex crisis and declining value of the Naira. What impacts will these deals secured in Saudi Arabia have in this regard?
Well, I think fundamentally, everyone understands that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu inherited a monetary and fiscal crisis. They understand that there was gross mismanagement at the Central Bank of Nigeria. That is not some sort of state secret. It is internationally understood. These countries have economic intelligence. They know what is going on within partner countries. So people know the malfeasance and gross corruption that took place in the CBN before Mr. President took office. That's not a secret to anybody. So it's because of that understanding that they have that people are a bit more sympathetic and more understanding of the fact that we have a leader that will not tolerate that we have a leader that has put in place new administrators of the Central Bank of Nigeria and at the Ministry of Finance who are proven technicians, technocrats, people who have worked at some of the largest organizations in the world in their sectors and fields. And they have confidence as a result of that, aside from their confidence in the person and administrative background of His Excellency Mr. President. So people know what's going on. And I think that's why you're seeing, despite some of the challenges that we certainly do have at the moment, they know with the economic reforms taking place with the removal of the fuel subsidy and the unification of the foreign exchange rates, which obviously is an ongoing process, particularly given the illiquidity that we currently are battling with at the moment. They know that these are temporary problems with the leadership we have in place, that we're going to overcome them, and that ultimately it is going to be the inflows of their foreign exchange under a business operating environment that is currently being created that will enable the kind of liquidity that would stabilize not just the Naira and the exchange rate, but would also ensure that investors are able to move their money in foreign exchange in and out of the country as easily as need be for them and for their purposes. So the people have confidence, but their confidence is in today, not in yesterday. Their confidence is in today under Mr. President and in tomorrow under the leadership that he's going to leave behind. And that is why we have no doubt that despite the current challenges, that Nigeria is not only going to march through, but that we're going to emerge much stronger, much better, and much more sustainable moving forward. And I think Nigerians have a lot of reason to be excited about that.
All right. So before I let you go, what more should the citizens expect from the administration in terms of economic revival?
Expect jobs. Expect tax to GDP to triple over the course of the next 3 to 4 years. Expect innovations. Expect that we are going to lighten the burden on our micro and small enterprises across the country so that people can create jobs for themselves and for other Nigerians. Expect that we are going to facilitate the establishment of tax regimes that exempt fully micro and small enterprises so that we don't tax the seed but the fruit. This is the vision of Mr. President. Expect that we are going to monetize all of the natural resources within our grounds, whether it's solid minerals, oil, or gas, in all parts of this country to ensure that we monetize it while it's hot so that we can use that money to invest in the development of other sectors, such as not just petrochemicals, but plastics and polymers and pharmaceuticals and all other labor-intensive industries that can create jobs and wealth for our people. Just expect that Mr. President knows exactly what to do, and even with the deficits that he's inherited, he is doing everything that he needs to do in the speed that he needs to do it to take us to where he wants us to get to take us to where he wants us to get to, and he's doing that.
All right. Ajurin Galale, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity. Thank you so much for speaking with us tonight on President Tinubu's economic policy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you.